All right, today we are installing a QuietCool attic fan. It's the gable mounted fan. It's the AFG SMT ES 3.0, and should be a pretty quick job, but I'm gonna show you how I do it. So this particular house has 3 gable vent options. There's one in the front, which this is west facing, and the one on the left side is north facing. I like to put my gable vents on the south side, or the fan, sorry. I like to put my vents on the south side and then draw the cooler air from the north side through the attic and blow it out the south side, which the gable vent is up there. Hard to see with a tree. But I like to put it on the south side, blow the cooler air out on the hotter side. So that's the goal. We'll jump up in the attic and see. Oh, looks like I get some extra surprises in the attic today. There's one there. And there's another one right there. Fun. I'll just film the box. All right, so open up the box here. This one's pretty simple. So this is app controlled. So there's a wireless hub here using Bluetooth that you're going to actually control with the app. We'll get to that later. The fan itself, it's got the 4 mounting brackets, and it's just a plug-in fan, and it just works automatically based on the temperature in your attic. So there's not a whole lot you have to do for it. It does come with little rubber mounting pads to help with the vibration. So I do is I shove them in my pocket along with the screws, and we're gonna head down there to the gable, get this thing mounted up pretty quick. It also comes with these shields. So these shields you can mount around the fan like so and staple them into place. And what that's designed to do is to help keep the air all blowing straight out and not coming back into. But with a lot of these gable vents, they're the perfect width to where you don't even need these. But we're gonna put them right here for now, and we'll go find out. This is another good reason it's good to get in your attic once in a while. You can find things like this. Looks like maybe the rats have chewed away all this insulation on the ducting, so that's obviously not good. I'll try and rewrap that for the customer. But things like that you can find in your attic and make little repairs. It's good to come up here once in a while. This particular gable vent, there's this crossbar here, which normally I would get rid of so that I could center it in here, but it's not necessary in this one because it actually still fits just fine right here. You just don't want it to sit directly on this 2x4 because that's going to cause more vibration. So I'm going to put it just about a 1/2 inch above that. Use my rubber pads to put between here, between the wood and the mounting bracket. So it's going to go up just a little bit like that, and that's it. So these the pads actually do have double-sided sticky tape on them, so we'll put those on to the brackets. I'm typically by myself when I do these, so I am showing you how to do it by yourself without a helper. So I realized with the gable fan up here, it was actually overlapping this by more than I could tell from first view. So I'm going to cut out this section right here, which will allow the gable fan to sit down a bit lower so that it covers more surface of the vent. So we're just going to cut this piece out real quick. So make sure when you're installing it, the grate, the cover, it's on the it's out here. This is just designed to protect things from getting sucked into the fan, because we want it to be open, not the open side, out. So we're going to screw this into place. I put 2 screws in the top brackets. Put 1 through the regular hole, and then there's you could put your screw in first if you wanted to mark it. Some situations you might need to mark it and put a screw in first. I don't really need to do that on this one because I can hold it with one hand, but sometimes it gets a little bit more complicated. But you can put a screw in first and then put it into the little slot and slide it into position. I'm gonna come down a little bit further. To where we're not directly up against any piece of wood with the fan itself. You can use the shields if you wanted in this scenario. You could put one of the shields right here. The rest of it is right up against the 2x4, so there's just a couple small little pockets. So what we'll do is we'll take those shields and we'll staple it on around those spots just to help keep all the airflow going outward instead of coming back in. Just me, like I said, I put 1 screw in each of the bottom ones, 2 in the top ones as an extra security. So as far as the install goes, that's all we're gonna do. It's just that. What this is gonna do is gonna help pull air from throughout the rest of the attic, hopefully through the north side where it's cooler, and blow it out the south side here. That is the goal. So you can open up your mounting box or your hub. You can either mount it here, just like this. That's probably the better way to do it. You want to make sure you have enough extension on your cable. Sometimes you might just need that extra 18 inches, and so you can bring it out. But if you put your fingers, when you're unscrewing this, I've found that if you put your finger, if you're holding the hub closed like this, it'll back the screw out, and then that little nut that's up in there will fall out, and it becomes a pain in the butt. So keep your fingers below the cover when you're unscrewing it, and then that way it flips open and the nut stays in place. So I'm just going to mount this on the wall with 1 little screw just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to pick the screw up or get another one out of my pocket because it fell in the insulation. And that's usually not easy to find. Now I'm putting this all back together. You just want to make sure that that screw is going right back into the little mounting hole there. And then don't over tighten these. You can feel it with your finger here. As I tighten it, it's just going to kind of pull the cover back in a little bit. Once it gets, there you go, that's it. So we're going to plug it in, then I'll show you the lights that are going to pop on if it's all plugged in properly, and then this is going to give you just a power, your speed. This is to test it, and then this is going to be to pair it with your app, with the QuietCool control app. So we'll get there in a second. I'm gonna go plug it in first. So these things all come wired from the factory, the gable fans do, so you don't have to worry too much about the wiring. You plug it in, if everything's right, you're gonna have a solid red. If it's any other color or blinking or anything, there might be a wiring issue inside, so you can check all your wire nuts in there. So there's a pair button to pair it with your app, which I'll show you in a little bit. And then we're gonna test it out with the speed. The first time you turn it on, it might blow some insulation around and some dust.
So this is a 3-speed. So it's going to go through all 3 speeds when testing. So you can hear, other than the wind blowing, it's very quiet. You know, we don't have any rattling. It's not up against anything that's going to rattle now or in the future. That's what we want, is to minimize vibration noise with the rubber gaskets in there with the rubber spacers. So we're going to go turn this off. You're going to hold down the pair button for a few seconds until this is blinking, and then you can go ahead and connect it to your app.
In California, most of our furnaces are in the attics, and so there's a plug-in for it. Technically, it's not within code because this should be on its own, completely on its own circuit. So what I normally will do, if there's not another outlet up here, what I'll normally do is I'll put in a light switch outlet combo. It's the easiest way to do it. And then you can just plug your gable fan into that. If you don't have that, then you're gonna have to figure out a way to get an outlet into the attic. This particular attic would be really easy to do because the wires are all over the place. I can add an outlet just about anywhere. After you hit the pair button, go ahead and open up your Smart Control app from QuietCool and make sure and enable the Bluetooth because that's how it's going to find the fan. You can select the fan and rename it to whatever you'd like. I named this one for the customer, and then you can pick your fan model and you can put in your serial number. After that, you're going to select what mode the fan works in. I recommend just leaving it in smart mode. Smart mode, you can set a summer, a winter, a fall, a custom setting. It's going to make the fan just run on its own. Set it and forget it. Based on the temperature and the humidity, it's going to come on to low, medium, and high all automatically. You don't have to worry about it. You can put it in timer mode as well. There might be reasons for that. You just have to remember to change it, based on the time of year. But anyways, thanks for watching. Like it if you like it. There will be a link to the Amazon purchase in the description. And please comment if you have any questions.